Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I'm your host, and today we're going to be reviewing Jedi Fallen Order. My first thoughts when this game was announced was, well, finally we're getting another Star Wars game with a Jedi. Since Disney struck all the other ones from canon, we haven't had one. And EA has only been able to release 2 games in, 7 years? And finally they've given it to somebody who's pretty competent as a game developer, Respawn. So I was interested to see whether it would live up to its predecessors, which, we'll get into that. Alright, let's talk setting. Order 66 happens. We're a Jedi Padawan, barely knowing anything about the Force, and we have to run into hiding. And that's where it starts. I'm gonna try not to give away much of the story in this video so that you can see it for yourself, but the goal of the game is rebuilding the Jedi Order. And, well, there's not much more to say about that without spoiling the game, so let's move into some other things. We play as a character named Cal Kestis. He's like a unattractive Tomb Raider who can barely handle a classic Lego game puzzle, the style of which you will find throughout the game. Move a box here, roll a ball there, jump over a thing, and another fun mechanic is you have to use your droid to open up particular doors, but sometimes he's broken, you can't go in there, which in a way sums up the game for me. You see a box, but you can't have it. Alright, so I've got a list here of strengths and weaknesses, and we're going to go through them here just so you can get a good idea of what the game is like, and then I'll give you my 2 cents on how it's, well, like, what it's worth, really, in my opinion. Okay, so the greatest strength of this game is the novelty of it. The idea of just being a Jedi in Star Wars, it just captures your imagination. It's just like, wow, you know? And, like, that's the best part of the game. That's its strongest point. It being Star Wars. Strength number 2. It's really, really fun to do duels in this game. Like, really fun. It's like an actual lightsaber fight in, like, game form. And it does it really well. So, yeah, strength number 2. The dueling is super fun. Strength number 3 would be, it's conceptually beautiful. It's like walking through a concept artist's book. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like, it's a good thing that it's, like, kind of, like, crazy at times, and it's every scene feels like it's supposed to look magnificent. So that's strength number 3. Now with strength number 4, I'm going to touch on the story a bit. It's really good, I think. It really captures the idea of what a Star Wars, like, story should be. Like, just generally, it's a very safe way of doing a story, but it is very good, and it is one of the game's strengths. Now, the last 2 strengths I'm going to touch on very briefly. There are some unique challenges in there that are fairly exciting between things that you need to fight or the puzzles that I made fun of earlier. Strength number 6 is going to touch on combat again, whereas it isn't hack and slashy. It doesn't feel that way at all. In the trailer, I got a little, like, worried that it might be kind of hack and slashy, but it wasn't at all. Super surprised. The combat is fluent, it's fun, and it really looks cool with the lightsaber. So yeah. Now it's time to get into the cons, and these are, well, the weaknesses, really. And these are the the parts that everyone kind of gets stuck on, I don't doubt. And they might be sticklers for you, but I think that they don't really take away from the game too much for what it is. So keep that in mind as I go through these. Alright, so con number 1. Customization. It's very lacking. And, like, okay, let me give you an example of what I mean. The ponchos that you can wear, or the clothes, are all just reskinned versions of the same asset. Yeah, it's not great. It's like in other games, for example, let's say The Witcher, there's hella stuff. You can wear whatever, you can look like whatever, basically, within the time period type setting. In this, it's like you can look basically the same, with a lighter, darker, or fruitier, or whatever costume. It's just not very good. Now, the lightsaber customization is fun, and definitely worth a go, but like the droid, ship, and like clothing customization is really lackluster and leaves a lot to be desired. Alright, con number 2. Now, con number 2 is about stamina. Now, stamina is commonly used in these type of third-person kind of games, whereas you can't block without it, or like use force or whatever, right? Now, this has two different stamina bars. It has the force bar and the regular stamina bar. Now, stamina is horrible because you have to use it constantly. It's just like this overbearing type thing over your head, constantly like pushing you further and further to the edge of insanity. So yeah, stamina was too much. Overkill on stamina. Okay, con number 3. Well, weakness number 3. Well, this weakness is more of my opinion. You might see it as a weakness, you might not. Star Wars tends to do this thing where it like starts in the middle of a story. It did it with A New Hope rather than starting with The Phantom Menace. You know how it is. This one does the same thing, and well, later on you hear more about our main character's story, but it leaves you kind of feeling left out, if I'm being honest, from the rest of the story. You kind of feel like some parts would have been more emotional if you would have known some of the things from before. My opinion, do with that what you will. Yeah. Okay, con number 4. Looting was kind of discouraging, because constantly you would see a box just out of reach, or something that you needed to get to it, and you had to go all the way through the mission, maybe all the way to the end of the game, and then have to go all the way back to that planet and redo it, when you honestly just kind of wanted to do the whole planet while you were there. I mean, some people might like that. I personally don't, and it was kind of discouraging at times, and I don't know, broke up the flow a lot, the flow of the game. Yeah. Con number 5 is that there's not really a evil option. You're kind of goody two-shoes for the whole thing. Meanwhile, in other games such as The Force Unleashed, you could be pretty evil at times, and it's entertaining. And I wish they would have gone evil. Like with Battlefront 2, you didn't really have that option because you just kind of turned good, which was disappointing. And now in this one, you're just good throughout, like not really any evil choices ever. And I mean, that kind of hurts the game, but I don't know. They do what they want, they're the artists. So, closing statements. This game is fairly decent, but a thought that I had while playing the game was, if this was an Assassin's Creed game and not a Star Wars game, we would all be very disappointed in its mechanics, in its world. And I know they're fairly different games, but they play fairly similarly. So this game would be disappointing if it was anything but Star Wars, but because it's Star Wars, it does get a pass, in my opinion. And yeah, it being Star Wars is honestly its best thing, its strongest part. So yeah, I think that if you're gonna buy this game, wait for it to go down in price a little bit, $30-$40 maybe. It is a good game. It's not a great game. It doesn't really push the boundaries at all. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Hit that little bell icon to be notified every time I upload. You know the whole thing. I've been Anthar. Thank you for watching. Thanks very much, actually. Yeah, bye.